Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edge Talk Radio. I am Angela Zabel, that's me, and I am here today with Ileana. She is the Star Traveler. She is an author, energy healer, psychic, shaman, and so much more. She's from British Columbia, Canada, and I am going to go into her. You're going to hear a lot more about her soon. So who am I? I am Angela Zabel. Have been connected to spirit my entire life, and I work with a team in the non-physical. On the other side, I share messages from a multitude of realms with people. I'm also a teacher, coach, and a medium, radio show host, writer, a retreat host, which retreat's coming up soon, a gallery reader, speaker, online private and group sessions, classes, offering guidance, mediumship, intuition, speaking engagements, sharing knowledge throughout the world. You can find me on most all the social media sites. And the biggest thing, go to my website, angelazabel.com, and you'll find everything else. And also, this is Edge Talk Radio. Edge Magazine is the leading events and media resource dedicated to all aspects of holistic living, health, and wellness, and the mysteries beyond, sharing information, wisdom, and resources, committed and promoting businesses, organizations, and individuals who support a collective journey to wholeness and balance. So find out more about Edge Magazine at edgemagazine.net. Now, today we are with Ileana, and she is the Star Traveler. She is a certified Native American shaman, psychic, crystal healer, energy healer, past life, regression and soul retrieval practitioner, hypnosis practitioner, remote viewer, and an Akashic records reader. Ileana is a successful self-published author on Amazon of a book called Crystal Grids. This is only one of her books. There's others. The Art of Healing and Crystals. This book teaches about various healing crystal modalities and how to work with crystal grids in order to manifest your success and achieve your goals in life. As well as Ileana is author of a new book titled Messages from the Star Traveler. This is the Research Archive Volume 1, and I think there's some more out there at this point. That's a self-published recently. To find out more about the book, check out her links, go on her website. She has so much information on her website. I'll get into that in a bit. So through self-hypnosis protocols, Ileana was able to learn much about her secret space program experiences of being with SSP Asset, working on the Mars bases for the planetary corporations in the cybernetics labs, creating biological drug serums, biological human cyborgs, Neuralink implants, and operating regenerative technologies that are in holographic medical pods and the medtech units. And some of you have heard of the medtech units, so keep an eye on that. There's so much out there. Through doing past life regressions, Ileana learned that she is an Andromedan Pleiadian Hybrid who is a star traveler. The EL race of extraterrestrials are 12th dimensional beings who embody both female and male forms. And they are a race of beings who can change matter on a biological scale, and they also have bio-living light ships that they travel in. The EL race are negotiators, and they help to bring peace to different planetary systems and prevent wars in galaxies. That's something I do want to touch on too. Throughout her life, Ileana had recall memories of experiencing and having reptilian abductions, especially since her mid-20s when she had been taken into underground bases in Europe, where her blood and immune system had been experimented on with nanite technologies to try and kill her. Yet she survived and is now disclosing what happens in reality with ET abductions, ET contact experiences, and the secret space program services. And one of the things I do want to let you know, so there's a lot with Ileana here. She has so much on her website. I'm going to go through just a little bit of it because I really want people to check out her website. You can learn about your star origins. These are things that she offers people: counseling, life coaching, energy healing, and psychic surgery, medical intuitive consultations, DNA and health infusions, Reiki healings, psychic and soul, galactic soul, Akashic and past life readings, soul and remote viewing memory reading reports, Onana time traveling reports, custom crystal grid designs, astral travel, hypnosis, channeling, and she has courses and workshops that include remote viewing, channeling, hypnosis, regression, past life readings, astral travel, soul retrieval, manifestation, higher self and soul communication, crystal grids, wands, pendulums, magic manifestations. That sounds so good. She also offers closed grids, meditations, puzzles, books, and information on her star journeys, dragon and star history. And I'm really interested in some of that, but I don't know if we'll be able to get it all. There's a lot to check out, and make sure to check out her website and YouTube channel. Her website is Seeking the Truth Within are at wixsite.com/star traveler messages. You don't have to remember it all. I'll have the link down below, so don't worry about that. And also check out her YouTube channel at Awakening Cosmic Reality Show. So much great information on there. So Ileana, there is so much to unpack with this, and I am so excited to have you here. I've got to say, thank you for being here. And what the heck put you on this path with all of this going on?
Well, I had so many memories as a little kid of just traveling in the stars, remembering these beautiful Pleiadian crystal ships, Andromedan ships, Arcturian ships, being shown different frequencies of healing. I would always tell my grandmother, there's so many different beautiful star beings out there. The universe is huge. There's so much to explore, planets. And my grandmother would always say to me, speak your truth, always share your stories, because there's so much in stories to hear, and we do communicate with different beings. So she always encouraged me to just speak honestly and openly about life experiences and connect with people and listen to other people's experiences, because it's a beautiful galactic journey, and there's so much rich history, galactic history out there that I've loved exploring in my book series, in my talks, and connecting with different beautiful soul beings.
One of the things I'm really surprised at is you had someone who is so supportive of you during when you were growing up, because honestly, there's a lot of people that don't have that support and really kind of hide everything and don't speak their truth. Is that something that really catapulted you? Do you feel catapulted you ahead, was having that? And why do you think she was so supportive of everything you brought up?
Well, she was supportive because in our side of the family, on the female side, one of my grandmother's great-great-grandmothers was very psychic, and she would do tarot card readings in the village. This was a long time ago in the old country of you. So I'm going to be very respectful of what's going on in the world, and so it was in the country of you, and grandmother could find cows, she could find things, she read tea leaves, she did tarot card readings, and she was always on point where the animals were found. When the cow got lost from the paddock or escaped, or a horse, she would find the animals where they were. So her accuracy was very good psychically. And my grandmother was open-minded. I'm not sure if she understood everything that I was telling her when I was 5, like all the traveling stories out in space, that I would meet these beautiful blonde beings or blue beings or purple beings, and they'd show me healing stuff. For her, it was keeping an open mind and allowing me to share the stories. And just listening, being present and listening, because my parents were busy working, so grandma raised me basically when I was a little kid. So she said, you can discuss it, you can draw it, and my drawings were simplistic. It wasn't anything special that I would draw, it's more what I've told her. And she's like, remember these stories and share your experiences. Again, being open-minded that the stories she heard on her side of the family of the psychic stuff, it gave her an understanding that there's so much out there in the universe beyond 3D existence, and to just be open-minded. Whether she believed in that stuff, or I'm not sure, because I never really asked her as a kid, well, what do you think of this? How do you take it in? I didn't ask. She would just listen. listen. And she said to my parents, this girl has a lot of stuff going on and she's experiencing a lot. Love her, be open-minded. And my mom is very open-minded. My mom is psychic herself. She has intuitive premonitions on when things are going to happen, especially when she's sleeping in her dreams. My dad is more like, okay, yeah, that might be possible. He will listen and not judge, but he's like, I'm not sure. He will say, I'm not sure, but that's okay. They don't judge me. They let me speak. They let me express myself. So they never blocked me from sharing my truth and my experiences.
That's pretty awesome to have that in your family. And then also, I love the fact when you said that your dad isn't sure, and that's okay. And for a lot of people, when they're having all these different experiences, to know there's people that aren't going to be sure, but to be okay with the fact that, they'll figure it out on their own. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, maybe they'll investigate, but it's really not up to you to worry about it and just keep speaking your truth. I think that's something, and I think that's something going forward is going to be so important for so many people, is to speak your truth and get it out there no matter what it is, because it's the truth for you and you need to speak it. And I think it's awesome, awesome, awesome.
And to be in your own honesty, to be in your own self-respect, to be in a place where you feel comfortable sharing truth. And some people will openly share, some will privately share with friends and family. Whatever makes you comfortable is what you do, because it's not one size fits all. It's what you are good with on a soul level to explore and experience. It took me 10 years to figure the different parts of my experiences and life journeys in the stars here on Earth, because it's a multitude of experiences. And I'm just always open to keep exploring, to keep searching, to keep listening, and to connect the dots, because I started working in libraries as a researcher and an archivist. So for me, I was an information person first with a lot of experiences that I did not speak about in the library because it's very academic. It's like focus on 3D life, do your research, do your work, customer service. So there I couldn't really express that, but with my parents and grandmother, I could. So certain parts of my life, I did not talk about that stuff, but with friends and just on my own shows, and I could explore anything I wanted, and I explore different things. I don't limit myself to just one aspect of an experience. I like to explore everything because everything is important. There's connection.
And that's something so important, is that connection. And I want to go back a little bit. So you started having the extraterrestrial contact, and that's something you really couldn't relate too much with your grandparents and your mom because it was totally out of their realm. So when did it first start for you where you were having these extraterrestrial experiences, and what were they like? Were you fearful or scared?
Well, it happened with abductions, with the reptilian abductions from 2 to 10. And it didn't started in the country of you when I was 2 in my own bedroom. I had my own bedroom and I had a little bed. And I would remember just a weird dark portal opening up, something like a black portal, and a black being coming through with ridges on the forehead and looking like a stone gargoyle almost, but not a gargoyle. 14 feet tall reptilian, and picking me out from the bed, taking me through the portal, going somewhere under Rostov in an underground, you could call it a base, you could call it a dumps. And there's human personnel there, but there's reptilians, the black Drazo, that's what the 14 feet tall black reptilian was, and the Sharab Invictus, which was kind of 10 to 12 feet tall with green yellow skin, shorter, more like slitted eyes, that kind of head, where the black one was more square.
Okay.
And reptilians come in different many forms and sizes. It's not just one type. And them just putting me on a silver looking chair and doing something to my blood where it felt like it was boiling and on fire, and something happening to my immune system. and then being sick with a mysterious virus for almost 4 weeks, paralyzed in the hospital. And the
Wow.
doctors couldn't figure out what it was. They were like, maybe meningitis, but they tested me, it wasn't. And this was in the 1980s in the old country. So they tested me for everything, couldn't figure it out. I was released from the hospital when the paralysis and the fever came down, and I continued to have abductions no matter where I lived. And I lived in Israel, I lived in Canada. So until 10 years old, this kept happening. And then it stopped happening. They stopped taking me, and it no longer happened. But I felt some health problems, and I always wanted to know the origin of that. So in my 20s, I started the hypnosis regression to figure out why that stuff happened to me. I'm like, okay, well, it happened. I can work on boosting my immune system. I can be healthier. I can do a lot of things to improve my life. I don't have to feel stuck in what happened in my abductions. And as a 5-year-old kid, I remember being on crystal ships, on these white crystalline ships with the Andromedans and the Pleiadians, and some of them were blondes, just beautiful blondes. And I feel the loving energy around them, because when you're on these ships, it's just pure high frequency. It is experiencing love. They teach a lot of wisdom. They teach you a lot of things about yourself and the greater galactic world that is all around us. To work with energy, to work with animals, to connect to everything that is living, because it's energy frequency. So they were teaching me about energy frequency. And when I was on the Arcturian ships, I would float and they floated.
Nice.
And these are like 9th-dimensional Arcturians. So when you see them, you almost see through them, because they're not completely solid. When they're on their motherships, it's all about energy and frequency. And they taught me about the different sectors of the soul. So there's the quantum field of soul healing, when you're working with the soul. And then you're looking at the physical body and healing the physical body with all the light rays, with all the frequencies of the universe. So it's soul and it's organics together. And you see where all the imbalances are, where all the good things are in the health, and what to work on healing. That's what they taught me, to work with the color rays of the universe for healing, energy healing. And it's a little bit different from the Reiki, because Reiki symbols are like you're taught certain style of Reiki, Usui, other things. So I keep it separate. I keep the energy healing separate from the Reiki. That's why I have several types of healings. Whatever a person is called to work with, they're called to work with. But the Arcturians, they left an impression of, look at everything in the soul, in the body, the quantum field of the soul, and hear the guides, what the guides of the person are saying, what the soul of the person is saying, because that can tell you a lot about what they're going through, what they're experiencing. And so they taught me to connect with my inner self and my higher self and my guides when I was on the Arcturian motherships.
That's pretty, I'm just really, you talked about the quantum healing at the quantum level. And then, there's a lot of people here that understand and are familiar more with the Reiki area, where you're dealing with different energy. And how would the quantum, is that, so I know you deal with past life and all of those, is that quantum field more dealing with all of those lives, like the whole package as one? Is that how you define it, or how would you?
It depends for every person, because every person is so different. Sometimes what's going on with their emotional balance has to do with past lives. Sometimes it has to do with present life stuff, with karma, or something that they need to realize, understand, work through. Because when you have, our body is energy, and our body is also physicality, and they're both intertwined, and they both have to be in holistic balance to be healthy as a whole. So you take care of both the soul and the physicality. And that's what the Arcturians taught me, because the Reiki taught me to focus in on the energy. Where is the imbalance in the body? Where is the blockage in the body? But where is the soul aspect? because the soul carries the energy. So the Arcturians taught me how to look at the soul levels deeply, how to connect with a person's soul to the finite experience of their Akashic, of their current life experience, their past, their present, and their future, because it's all interconnected in a lifetime. And it's also the physical. They taught me to look beyond just the blockage and the imbalance. What's behind it? What's the root cause of something? And what's the healing solution? Both on the soul level, on the quantum, and the physical aspect, because it's both. To look beyond just one simple thing of a cause. What is the root cause, and how do you heal it? How do you bring everything in balance?
That's something I think is so very important, because a lot of things are, as we're trying to heal ourselves, a lot of things in our world, our physical world here, is kind of all about covering up what's happening, covering up those symptoms instead of really getting to the root of it. And that's where the true healing takes place. And for you, as you started working with the Arcturians and all of these other ones, how did you go from the reptilians? I'm guessing that segment of your life, do they still come forward, or do you pretty much work with the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the ELs?
Yeah, so the reptilians, those ones never came back. After I was 10, I don't like to live in pain. I don't like to live in suffering. I don't like to dwell on what happened in the abduction. I've dealt with it. I figured it out. And I worked out the health aspect as well. So I've improved what I could for boosting the immune system. I mean, there's vitamin D, liquid New Roots vitamin D supplements I love. It boosts your immune system and gives you more strength. I also do plasma therapy for myself to boost my plasma levels. I found that very helpful through research, and that connects to the SSP stuff, what I did, because I know a lot of medical research that I shouldn't know, but it's because of what I did there. And I'm thankful for every experience that I have, because it brings a point of learning and brings a point of healing. For me, anything that I experience, I see as a potential learning opportunity, to see the goodness in the learning opportunity. So for me, it's those reptilians never came back. The Andromedans, the Pleiadians, and the Arcturians, and the L race are constantly with me. I connect only to the positive beings because I want to have positive experiences. I don't connect to any drama, trauma. I'm not interested in any weird galactic stuff that is, I'm interested in the healing. I'm interested in the positivity and the light experience.
That's one thing, I'm a medium. I connect to a lot of other aspects, a lot of different realms out there. And that's one of the things for people not to be scared with what's out there, to look at everything as an experience. But like how you said, where you put out there, I don't want to have the pain, I want to have these great experiences, and to put that intention out there, just like I look at it as, if you've got a neighbor you don't like, you're not going to hang around with a neighbor either, right? So
Well, interestingly enough, with my neighbors, even if I don't like somebody, if I really feel called to talk to them, I will actually go and talk to my neighbors, because I don't hold grudges with people, because you never know how you can be helpful to somebody, or they can be helpful to you. So keeping on good terms, even if you're just saying, hi, how are you? How's your day? Smiling. Even if you guys are not on the best terms of neighbors, still having a good relationship is a good opportunity, because you never know how you guys can help each other.
absolutely. And that is so true. It's just, I guess I look at it as more of, if there's people you don't really mesh with energetically, you're not going to, spend a lot of time with them. You'd be cordial, but you're not going to spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah,
And,
that's true.
and
That's true.
to kind of look at all those on the other, I look at those on the other side, those in the other realms, as, people, there's ones you'd really like to hang out with and you really have a great time, and other ones where it's like, hey, hi, how's it doing? But you keep going on.
Yeah, but you're always nice and kind to each other no matter what, because this world is about connection. This world is about reconnecting. The idea is you can be good people, and you can be connected to good people. Even if you don't see them every day, you still treat them with love and respect and kindness.
Absolutely. And that's more where the world is actually going, with that connection of at least, being kind and saying hi and
Mhm.
having that smile. But
Yes.
it's all about that connection going forward. Are you seeing that connection with those on the other side, with those in the other realms, with those ET realms? Is that increasing, do you think?
Every day I'm connected to the other side. I talk to source creator. You could call it God, you could call it prime creator. It is the creator of everything. It is the energy that keeps creating and expanding. And there's other creator beings that the creator created that are also doing the good work. And sometimes I do channeling with source creator, and it's not me, it's not my intuitive self channeling. It is source creator coming in with a pure vibration of creation to give a message, to give an explanation of something. When I ask questions or people have questions, sometimes I will take questions and I do Q&A. Somebody writes something in or a comment on my channel. And if it resonates with the soul and source creator says, yes, let's answer these, we'll do a channeling together. And it is the purest energy that I have ever felt. For some reason, I can channel different beings, different positive ETs, but I like to work with the creator energy. It is the purest energy I've ever felt, and it is the truest energy in the answers, because it does not sound like me. There is no ego. It's not me in the channeling, source creator.
And that's something I think people don't quite understand, is when you start connecting to all of this, being able to channel, to bring that in and trusting what you're getting in. So when you first started connecting to the creator being, as you call it, how did you differentiate that energy from, say, some of the Palladians and Almadans and ELs that you had worked at?
They all give different frequency of energy when you connect. It's not the same frequency. Creation has a very high vibration. So do these other beings, but their energy is different. You can feel the waveform that whoever the being is, the ones that you mentioned or other ones, their waveform frequency will be different from source creators. Every one of them has a unique frequency that you're connecting to. And when you're channeling, you're stepping away, your ego is stepping away, your personality is stepping away, and you're allowing the positive energy of the being to speak through you. You can still be somewhat self-aware if you want to have a bit of a presence, you can, or you might just step aside and let the being do its work, as long as the positive field vibration that the being is. With channeling, you have to be very careful. If you feel uncomfortable, don't let anything in that is not of the highest good. Protection first, and then the messages from these beings. And I particularly love source creator. It is the highest, purest form of the information, because source creator is connected to everything in realities and universes. This being, or pure energy, I don't call it a man or a woman, it is pure energy of creation, is connected to everything, multiple dimensions, multiple galaxies, multiple universes, everywhere. So the information comes in as pure truth because it can come in from anywhere in the universes where creation happens.
So you started tapping into the creator being energy. Was that first, or did you start with the ETs and then worked into the creator energy?
I started with the ETs, then went into the creator energy, but for some reason, I like to just talk to ETs telepathically or through guided messages, and with creator through the channeling. If somebody asks me, can you channel the Pleiadians on your channel? I'm like, I like to channel source creator more. I just feel more comfortable with that frequency because I work the most with that energy. I do channel in private sessions other beings. I just don't feel I have the need to do public channeling so much. Just when there's a interesting question and answer, when it really connects, then I will do it. It's more out of humbleness than anything else that I do the channeling, because it is a pure frequency that I want to continue to keep pure in the connection.
And I really like the fact that you said when there's specific questions and things that to ask. I think that's what really helps our expansion here on Earth and theirs to help that expansion when you're really questioning and putting things out there to the universe rather than just a basic question. And that's something I think people eh, don't quite understand. And I also feel, I mean, for me too, I look at like, okay, if I saw an ET in front of me, what would I say to them? How would I keep the conversation going? And a lot of people like, I want to see one, but then the next question is, what would you be working with them with? What would you want to know about? What would you want to communicate about? So how did that work for you, that communication?
So I'll start with the Arcturians. I'm like, I have always wanted to do the healing, the energy healing, the quantum healing, and the physical healing together. So they showed me how to work with the rays. They came in and they have names. They do have names. They have physicality, although in the ninth dimension, they're not always in the physical because they can be energetic or physicality. They can manifest anything at the ninth density or the realm, whatever you want to call it. But with them, it was the pure healing and the soul wisdom, the highest wisdom that they can teach me. Don't dwell on holding negative space, hold positive space, hold a positive energy charge. Reflect back on what happened, but don't dwell and don't carry that with you. Continue to move, continue to flow, continue to learn, continue to expand the soul. That is the ascension process. That at its purest core is the wisdom lessons they taught me, along with the healing. Keep flowing, keep moving, keep experiencing, keep learning what happens in the experiences. That is the wisdom they taught me. The Pleiadians and the Andromedans history, what happens to you in the experience. It certainly teaches you something, but it is not defining you as a whole. It is allowing you to learn and expand, but it does not have to make you everything that you are, because there's more experiences to happen and to learn. And it's explore your past, explore your present and future, but don't let it define you in everything that you are. Keep learning, keep expanding. That's what they taught me. The L rays taught me ascension, that everything is interconnected on Earth and all the other planets. What happens on Earth, it impacts something else somewhere else in the universe. What we do as soul beings, what we do as creators, energetically and physically, it has an impact somewhere else, and it has an impact in our own life, in our own little world that we create a beautiful timeline. Because there's the whole planetary timeline of the whole collective, but there's individual timelines that we live in and create. Keep them positive, keep them healthy, keep them beautiful, keep healing, keep working.
I like the when you talked about how they first came in and talked about letting things go, moving forward. I think that's something so key. Sometimes I feel people kind of get stuck on the fact that everything's out here, out in the universe, and there's all this to worry about, and they forget to really kind of take care of their own stuff, their own things they've been holding on to, and to really work on that and release themselves from. Sometimes I feel like the book they've created for themselves, release themselves from that to then move on and start something completely different. And I love the fact that they came through and that's some of the first things they worked on with you and to teach you.
Yeah, and it's like when you meet an extraterrestrial being, if it's telepathically or in front of you, what's the connection? Ask, how are you connected to me? How are you connected to me? What are you here to work with me on, to teach me? What can I learn from you? What can you learn from me? Because it's always a soul connection. When they show up, it's not just, hi, I'm so and so. They always, extraterrestrials show up to help you expand yourself, to expand the soul, learning, teaching opportunities. That's what I've had with these beings. And it's always about, what can I learn from them? What can I expand my soul with? I ask them, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. Would you be able to teach me? And it's like, it's almost universal. Every being has something beautiful to offer to work with. And it's as if you and I are meeting for the first time on the street. I would feel your energy. And if it's a powerful, loving energy, I would say, hi, how are you? Because I just feel the desire to meet you and connect. So,
That
and people might think that's strange, but I have stopped random people on the street and said, hi, how are you? And just started a conversation because I feel the frequency. It's a good frequency. Let's get talking. Let's get communicating. Let's connect.
I love that. I've done that myself, and it's so fun because you never know what that connection is going to bring. And sometimes it's just bringing a smile to them, and they're happy to
Yes.
have that connection. But other times it leads to such invigorating conversations. It's like, wow, I never would have had that if I wouldn't have taken the chance and like, I feel them. Let's talk to them. Let's open up the communication. So much to be learned from so many people.
Yeah, and I don't treat the ETs as anything above me or different from me. I treat them as living beings. They might be different than us, they might look different, but they talk, they communicate, they share information, they connect. They're living beings.
That
Everything is alive. So it's a connection of living, understanding, and mutual respect and kindness.
that's one thing I really love that you're talking about is that connection and treating them the same as us. I think that's so important because so many people, I mean, I hear so much rhetoric where, oh, they have all this technology, they're so much advanced, they're so ahead of us, and it's like they're people. They're, as I just call them people.
They are.
They're the same as us. They just look different. It's no, it's no different.
Yeah, and I've seen med beds and I worked with med beds, but I was never in a med bed. I was just operating a med bed. And people have asked me, why haven't you asked the ETs to heal me? They have the technology to see. The biggest lessons we learn is from healing ourselves and helping our own selves to work on what we have here on earth to work with. Just because advanced races have advanced technology that could fix whatever in a millisecond, but us learning how to heal ourselves is the biggest reward that there is. I
I
don't take advantage of their technology to hop in a med bed, and because they do have them, but I don't ask, I don't expect it, because I can do my own healing. I can work on my own things. I don't want something from someone. It's not how I work. I work with, what can I learn as I'm doing my journey, as I'm healing, as I'm evolving, as I'm expanding, because that's the learning. You learn something beautiful on that journey. If you take the shortcut, what are you learning from that shortcut?
And that's something I think is so important. So many people want that fast track, cover things up and just put a band-aid on it, get myself to the next level, but never really deal with what's under the surface. And really when you start learning to heal yourself, when you start expanding that connection to source and everything that's there, how much more empowered you feel and how much, I don't know about you, but the more I connect, man, the happier I get. It is so fun. I just feel so fulfilled.
Yeah, and again, they teach me so much, and I don't ask for the technology, because it's not about that. It is the soul, it is the learning, it is the connection. That is the purest forms. And with some extraterrestrials, I've taken histories of culture, of planetary stuff, their customs. I've been to many planets, and I've met different beings. And it's like, hi, how are you? Who are you as a soul being? And I look at the soul frequency and I connect on the soul level to them. And they're like, wow, you can see my soul essence. You can see the vibration. I'm like, yes, it's beautiful. For me, I love the learning about different extraterrestrial cultures, beings. Yes, I like to learn about their technology and understand it. Doesn't mean I have to engage with it fully. It's just the exploration and for me, it's knowledge and seeking. That's what a star traveler is. Traveling among the stars, learning and understanding other beings, learning to connect in loving, peaceful ways. That is what a star traveler is, or a star walker.
I love that because so many people are looking for that out of body experience to go somewhere, but it's like forgetting that aspect of what are you learning along the way instead of just wanting to be out of your body and having that experience. what are you learning? What are you learning with everything as you go forward? And I think it's so important. And I've had experiences with different ETs, and the experiences I've had has been so loving, so all-encompassing, and so supportive for us and for them, and I've just only experienced that pure love with them, and it sounded like the ones you're working with now are
Yes.
of that same aspect.
Yes, they hold a very high vibration. And again, with the abductions, I've experienced the low vibration. I don't hold it against anyone. I don't know what these beings went through themselves, why they did it. I'm sure there's a reason and a purpose. So I try to have compassion, and I try to have respect for all beings.
And that's something so very true, and even the people around us, some people, we may look at it as struggling or they're just working through more things, so I look at it the same way as you do, where there's other beings that are just working through more things and other ones that have already worked through things, and it's
Mhm.
just you just put that energy out there hoping that everybody finds that next level, that energy is available for whoever wants it.
Yes, exactly. And a positive connection with whoever you are connecting, extraterrestrials, humans. I look for that frequency. I always do a soul check. And it's like the first thing I do when I meet a being, I scan their soul, your literal life essence. I scan it, and I'm getting impressions of what the soul is. And I look at everything. I see your whole self, all aspects of you. And if it's a good connection, I will connect further and start the conversation, start the contact. If I see something that feels out of place or is wrong, I will look at it, and perhaps I'm like, okay, this is an acquaintance. This is a person I can still know and connect with on a basic level, but it's not as deep. And that's fine. That's how we all connect on an intuitive level. We are scanning the soul of somebody else. We can call it intuitive guidance. We can call it inner guidance. You're still connecting on a frequency to somebody else. It's not just a physical appearance thing. It is actually a soul vibration.
I love that explanation because I think so many people don't trust themselves when they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I really care for that person or something just seems off." And other ones is like a friend you've met and you can start up a conversation and go deep into everything and it's just so much fun. It's that exhilaration when you find someone who is more of a frequency towards you.
Yeah.
And I think I love how you explained it because I think it's going to help a lot of people going forward, how they look at themselves when you talk about a soul scan. I love that.
Well, everything is resonating with a living frequency, and you can scan a frequency, you can scan a living being to know. And I'm not intrusive, I'm not looking for their deepest secrets or whatever. I'm just seeing what the soul is all about, just on the surface. And that can tell me a lot. I'm not going in deep, 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 deep into your soul unless you ask me to for whatever reason, then I can, but I just look at the surface and I get a vibration of what the person is on the soul level. And it's very basic and simplistic, but it tells me a lot. And sometimes, even if I don't resonate with the person, I still pick up interesting things about them that are important to know for me and to connect on whatever level I connect, whether that's deep or basic. It's still a living being that deserves love and respect.
That's something I think people need to really be more conscious of and to help move themselves forward is that connection and understanding it and really trusting themselves on that connection. It
Mhm.
is so important for everyone going forward, and one of the things I love is you mentioned, even when you do the scan, you're not going deep, you're not going into those recesses, you have your own boundaries, your own integrity that you hold to, and I think that's so important for people to realize. There's so many of us working in all of these fields that do have a deep level of integrity, that really care about the people you're working for, and really will only do things when asked. You're not gonna do anything more than that.
No, no, I don't. And when some people have said, well, those DNA infusions are quite strange. How does it happen? It happens energetically, and all the beings are part of collectives, different healing collectives, different teaching wisdom collectives. They never do anything with your human DNA. They don't put a DNA infusion mixing it with a human one. They put it side by side or over to the top of it. So you get a connection to the extraterrestrial energetic DNA aspects that they have with their DNA, but they're not interfering with your human DNA. They will never mix DNAs.
That brings me up another question I was going to bring up to you. So you have in here that you have the ELs, the I'm going back where my sheet is, the EL, the Pleiadian, the Andromedan. Is it Andromedan? Is that right?
Andromedan, yeah.
Andromedan. And you have that DNA within you. So would you expand on that? Do you think a lot of people have a lot of different extraterrestrial DNA within them on different levels?
Oh, yes, they do, of course, because what you've experienced galactically in galactic lifetimes on other planets and past lives, all those bits of DNA come with you. Even though you're in a human body and we think predominantly it's just human DNA, but there's DNA of its vibration. DNA holds energy and vibration, and it resides in our body this way as energy and vibration, not just mRNA and cells of DNA. It is the vibration, and that is what is coming from those past lives. And some have more Arcturian and Andromedan. If they've had many lifetimes as these beings, they'll have more DNA as such. If they've had less, they'll have less DNA. And people think that's only 100% DNA. It goes more than 100%. Because
Absolutely.
what you've embodied before is what you connect with on a genetic scale. Literally, you bring that in with you. And right now we have the capacity to scan human DNA in, laboratory scanners, but in the future, we will have different scanners that can tell you your percentages of galactic DNA as the extraterrestrials that you've potentially been. It's all there, and eventually the technology will be there publicly for us to have a scan to tell us what we are as galactic beings, because we are galactics. We've had many lifetimes. It's not just Earth. It's not just human. I call us galactic humans because we come from the stars. We come from many different planets, realities, universes.
I love that galactic humans, because I always look at it as, so many people get a little frightened, a little fearful with talking about ETs and meeting ETs and having communication with ETs. But if we look at it differently and break ourselves down on that soul level, on that DNA level, we're actually we're just creating a bigger family. We're taking our DNA that's within us, and just like when they're doing all the other DNA, the different types they have to test your DNA and see what you're made up of, that is I agree, is going to be available later for us to see how much of each of these other galactic beings we are part of, and how much of that DNA we're really meeting our family and expanding our family, creating those connections again.
Exactly. I have L race DNA, I have Andromedan, and I have Pleiadian. Those are things that I came in with as gifts. They're what helped me with my abilities. And people have asked me, why haven't you had DNA infusions by others? And I'm like, I'm good with what I have. I'm good with what I have. I'm very comfortable and happy. Some people have done DNA infusions to boost ability, to expand on something. And I say, it's always your choice what you do or not do. It is always free will choice, because what you want to explore, what you vibrate and resonate with, it's on a soul level. It's a beautiful experience on a soul level.
And I love the fact that you talk about it's up to the person, it's up to what they decide to do, because this is a free will society. We get to decide what we want to do and have fun with every step of the journey, whatever you decide. I just want to ask, do you feel there's a right or a wrong way to do it, or is it really individual and up to them?
Well, in the things that I do and how I live, I do have protocols for healing and DNA infusions. I have a set of protocols, and in the DNA infusion, you have a choice side by side or overlapping over the human DNA, because some people might want a temporary DNA infusion. Some people might want a permanent one. It is a choice that the beings always give. They say, no, we're not mixing DNA. Some people are excited. I want all the extraterrestrial DNA mixed with my human DNA. And they're like, no, 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 no. We don't interfere with your human DNA. It goes side by side or on top, and it's always an explanation and a choice is given and an understanding of what they're transferring energetically. So you understand what's happening.
So as you're talking about the different ones, you talk about Andromedan and the Pleiadian and the ELs. What are the differences between them?
They all are in different densities and dimensions, and they all have different qualities. The L race is about the ascension, 12th dimensional. They're here to assist with our ascension to get us to that event horizon. The event, what everybody talks about, the event, that's real. That is in progress. That is happening step by step. There's not one big thing that just happens and everything goes 5D. It's a process step to the 5D. That's what they've taught me. The L race is about advancing your density, raising your vibration, your density, the realms you can visit. They're about teaching you how to do that. The Arcturians are about the healing and the wisdom. The Pleiadians and Andromedans about soul progression, where you go, here is you now, where do you go from here? How are you going forward, energetically, physically, vibrationally? They're all wisdom teachers, but they all teach something specific, and they all work with you on what you want to focus on. They respect free will choice. They're all different densities. Arcturians are the ones I work with, they're 9th dimensional. The L's are 12th dimensional. Pleiadians, anywhere from the 5th to the 10th, and Andromedans. So it's about the soul frequency that they carry.
And that's something I think a lot of people I've talked to have come up with the I think the precognition of all ETs are the same. Everything is the same. They're all at the same frequency, and it's like they're not even close. And for you to kind of bring that out more and letting people know they are so different, each one of them.
They are, because they all hold their own soul frequency, just like you and I, we hold our own vibrational frequency. We may have the typical galactic humanoid template, 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head and 2 eyes, a mouth and a nose. That's very typical humanoid looking galactic template of beings. You can see a blonde Nordic and think, oh, that's a beautiful Swedish Norwegian person who is from a certain part of Europe. But when you feel their soul energy, it's not from this world. It's quite different. It's not the human standard. You can even feel a different frequency if you tune in, if you're open to sensing auras, sensing vibration of a soul. You'll know that that being may look human, but there's something different about them, soul-wise, soul frequency. And that's how you know might not be from this planet.
So do you feel there's because I've had questions from people, are there beings on this planet now? Do they walk among us? Are there hybrids? What is your knowledge on all of the hybrids, those that walk among us? What is your knowledge on that?
There's many different humanoid extraterrestrials that can blend with us and that could pass because they look humanoid. Pleiadians, Andromedans. Some of the Arcturians are humanoid looking. I have an Arcturian friend who's Arcturian hybrid. She's very much looks human. She just has purple hair and she's almost 10 feet tall. That's a difference. That's how you know, interesting. not 10 feet, and we've shrunk in height. A lot of the extraterrestrials, because they're not planet side all the time, they're taller. They might have different characteristics that just make them stand out more than others. So you just never know. You read the soul frequency. I mean, it's obvious. If Jaya was to just come in right now, 10 feet tall with purple hair and bigger eyes, like her eyes are big, she can open portals. She's taken me to Japan twice. She has taken me to Egypt 100,000 years in the past. So she has ability, her frequency, you can tell her frequency portals. That's what she specializes in.
Do you see others that specialize in those portals, and what benefit have you received from going through these portals that are offered to you?
The L race has a lot of portals. Anea of the L race, she's taken me to Venus. She's taken me to so many different places. It's the learning. I enjoy the learning of what I see, arc ships, crystal ships. She takes me to specific places, and so does Jaya, where I can have an experience, meditate, learn, expand the soul, raise the vibration of the frequency of my soul.
Is that something you can say you just want to start going, you want to go to a portal? Can you put yourself into meditation and hit a portal to go to some of the other planets? Is that something you can do?
I would have to be at the right frequency to visit a specific place, because I've visited Vakuntha, I've visited the halls of Amenti, and I've had to be at 7th dimensional density to even reach those places, because they're beyond the human realm, they're elsewhere. So I had to be at a specific vibration to go to Vakuntha, and Vakuntha is where the Hindu gods live, the blue ones. Just so a reference, in the Hindu scriptures, they talk about a place called Vakuntha, where everything is living vibration. Everything lives for thousands of years. It's blue and green energy in that space, and physical beings, but they create energetically and physically. So they can create different cities. They can create flying lotuses. They travel on a lotus. I know that sounds weird, but that's what these beings can manifest. And when I went to that space, the flowers were healing, like living, healing flowers. You touch the flower and it boosts your energy. Gives you more energy and vibration, makes you more happier. I'm like, wow, this is a magical flower. It's not magic, it's just how that flower is. It has a healing essence that it creates energetically. And if you touch it, it gives you a bit of that to help heal you. So when I was there, I'm like, wow, healing flowers. I wish we had that in our realm. I wish our realm was going here. It is going here in its own time. It is expanding. It's going.
I think that's absolutely beautiful. I love the flowers. I love the flower energy of everything about the flowers. And for you to talk about the flowers and how healing they are and how helpful they are in that energy, I think it brings hope to a lot of people to know that we are on track to go there. And I guess because there's been a lot going on in the world and a lot of people are very disheartened. What is your take on the future of us, on the future of our world?
Think of the positive aspects that happen in your life and bring that forward to your future, to the whole future of this planet. Because some things are happening on a controller level. Don't let the controllers win. Don't let the controllers take away the light from us. We are the light. We hold the light. So again, these are outside bubbles that are created to distract us, to dishearten us, to lower our vibration. Don't let it lower your vibration no matter what. Keep the positivity, keep the hope, because that creates a better future for this world. The vibration of what we hold and express.
I love that, staying out of that fear and bringing into that hope and bringing all those positive, enlightening experiences you've ever had, bringing that to the surface, talking about it more, remembering them more, I think helps everyone, not only here, but I know all those ETs, those extraterrestrials are all there. And this is one thing I want to ask you on. I feel that they're not here just to help us, but to help us understand who we are so we can help ourselves. What's your take on that?
Oh, definitely. They always encouraged me to look into my inner wisdom and to understand something better from that internal wisdom, not to just tell me something, but to learn from a lesson of the experience. And again, many things in this world are just distractors that are being shown to us, and they want us to believe that that will always be like this, and it won't, because everything is an ebb and a flow. And the extraterrestrials have taught me this. No matter what happens in the external bubbles of what the controllers do, doesn't mean that it has to control us, that we have to be like that or sink to their levels and follow them, because we don't. That is just a control system that exists in a 3D world, but you don't have to live it and be in it. And you don't have to embody that frequency, because that is not what will always be like this. It's not supposed to be like this on other planets. It is just pure energy and frequency. You get to try different jobs, spiritual jobs, physical jobs, and it's not about anything that somebody has to pay for to do or experience. It is free learning, because there's no blockages or gateways in trying different things. It's all open to try and experience. That's a free world.
That's something I think people don't even can understand, that there is that free world out there that we're working towards. And I know we're going to get there. We are going to get there. And that ability of that support in all manners, being there to support us on so many levels to achieve what each person wants to achieve in their own life and their own unique abilities, and to support those own unique abilities. And that's something for me. I'm very excited to have you on because of your unique abilities, how it supports so many people going forward. And I just want to say, for people, make sure to check out her YouTube channel, because Ileana, you have so much on your YouTube channel, and in sharing so much information out there. And I'm excited for people to find you, to find out more about you. And because everyone who finds you expands and brings something new to this universe. And one of the things I want to ask is, do you think anyone can start a connection to those extraterrestrials? Is it only for chosen few, or do you think anyone can find a way to do this?
Well, I think anyone can do it if they want to connect on a soul level, on a psychic level, telepathic level. It's not being chosen. It's not about special or different. It's about, if you want to connect, all you have to do is ask to connect to their frequency, to particular beings. And when I was younger, I was like, well, I want to talk to the Arcturians, the Andromedans, but I did it when I was ready. I put out the call even before I was ready, and I could feel the energy. I could feel them, but they weren't talking to me, because the talking started when I really was ready on a soul level for those connections. I kept asking, why can't I talk to you? It's like, you'll talk to us when the time is right, when the connection fully is ready. When you're ready, we will connect to you on a soul level. And they did. 5 years from when I asked. It happened 5 years. It all comes in its energetic form and connection. When it's meant to be, it will be. It connects. And I was fine with it, because I had to really work through my human aspects of changing my frequency from typical 3D standard to the higher being that I wanted to be. And when I did that, that is when the connections came with that.
And that's something I think is so key, because I've talked to people where, like, oh, I just want to connect to them. I'm ready. I'm ready, but nothing happens. But I think you and I kind of look at it differently and go, you may think you're ready, but your soul is still have a little bit of growth in it to truly be ready for that connection, without bringing fear and preconceived notions into it, and being able to not handle it, but being able to really get the growth out of it that you're meant to get the growth from.
Oh, exactly. And people ask me, when are they physically going to come here, show up, and start helping us to make a change? Well, we can do our own change and help to heal this planet. It's not up to them to give us this technology to do it. We can do it, but we have to realize that we are free beings, and not let the controllers set the control systems for our freedom.
I love how you said that, where I hear it too, where people are asking, when are they going to be here? When are they going to be, show up? And it's like, it's not about them showing up. And this is about us moving into that, our own freedom, and being able to bring that change about ourselves. I think I love how what you're talking about all this. You're like, I'm like right with you. It's like this is so exciting.
It is about freedom. It is realizing that freedom is internal and external.
And
It's not a control system where we're controlled. It's where we're free. And certain things have to change for that freedom to happen. It is us asking for freedom. It is us embodying this freedom. And once we are free and we expand, then they'll show up.
they'll be ready, and we will be ready for them to show up, to see them, to interact with them without the preconceived notions. And it's for me, it's exciting. It's exciting to see the growth in people as they're questioning and wanting to grow more and understand more about the ETs and what they're here for. And for you telling about how important it is to know they're the same as us. They're the
Well,
same as us.
they are, and I never ask them for any favors for special treatment. I don't want that from them. I don't want them to treat me any differently than they do anybody else who's in contact with them. It is about learning and expanding and sharing ideas. I have two higher selves that I talk with, and they're galactic extraterrestrials. And they do teach me wisdom and they give me advice. But what I share with them, I don't ask on a regular basis with the others I'm in contact with. It's like every being has a purpose in the connection they have with me, and I respect that connection and what it is and what it helps me with, but I don't cross boundaries.
It's not taking advantage of that
No.
connection to move you ahead further. Not that it's not moving you ahead further, but taking advantage of the connections. It's almost like having a friend where you're always asking for something versus it's the give and take. And that's something I think is so important to remember, the give and take as we go forward. And now
Yes.
one of the things you talk about is bringing light and having that give and take and treating them as equals. So there's one thing that I get questioned a lot of, so I'm going to bring it up to you. So when you're working with the ETs, do you look at them as good versus evil, good versus bad? Do you just look at what is your take on that whole thing? I think I have an idea how you're going to answer this, but I want to hear it.
I look at the purity of their frequency, how good they are, how bad they are, evil, not so evil. Again, things happen to beings for a purpose and a reason why they ended up the way they did in the frequency that they hold because of what happened. And trying to understand why, even if somebody doesn't hold the highest frequency, if they're meant to be in my life, extraterrestrial or human wise, I will explore the why. I will not judge them for why their frequency is higher or lower. I don't see it as good and evil. I see it as, why are they holding that frequency? Why? And what is going on? If they need healing, they need healing. If they need guidance, they need guidance. Everything is for a purpose. Good and evil are human labels, but it's a frequency. And somebody said you have to embody 100% light frequency not to be infiltrated by anyone or anything. I'm like, no, not really. The frequency that you embody at this time is what you're experiencing, what's happening to you on a soul and physical level. Today, your frequency might be 95, tomorrow it could be 92 or 90 because of what you're going through energetically and physically. But you can raise that frequency and work on yourself to have it at 100%. Sometimes it's out of our control because something is happening, and forgive, learn from it, understand, work on it to improve it. And don't be so hard on yourself. If today it's 90, tomorrow it's 95 or 92. Just work on yourself. Be the best you can be energetically and physically, taking care of yourself and others.
That's something I think people to have a little compassion for themselves, because we're all shifting in frequency all the time. That's how we're learning. That's how we're expanding. That's how we're moving forward. Because otherwise you'd be 100% all the time, which you'd be in a high frequency light body form with nothing to learn. And it's like
and I've been in a light body. I recently, I don't know if you're familiar with the light system, TLS.
No, I'm not. So please explain.
So it is a kind of like a system where they have people that do different spiritual missions and physical missions on the planet to help and to stop certain things that the controllers do. And when one of the people, he calls himself Ray, that's just a code name, he was talking about the fact that the human body needs to be very light sometimes when without extra things on it to do certain types of missions, to go in to collect people from buildings and stuff. It means sometimes he's gone into places without something on him because he needs to be lighter to connect to the light body, to do that energetic work. And people are like, well, why does he have to be without anything on him to do that? Because it's connecting, it's just being light, not being hampered by anything. To be able to energetically connect to other soul frequencies and do that work.
Nice.
And
That is
and then when that work is done, the person goes and gets into what they need to wear, and it sounds strange, but it's sometimes that is how the person is to connect to the light body.
That is very interesting because, there's a lot of things that people do. I mean, we look at things that just help us feel better, like massages, or you're going into like the float tanks and
Mhm.
you're trying to get back to that original being, that light body. And I think it's pushing people's perceptions to look at things differently. I think it's a great way to look at it, to have that better connection, that more pure connection.
And when you're in that float tank, you're not overdressed. You're just dressed enough for it to feel comfortable. And sometimes you don't have to be dressed at all to do something on a spiritual mission, physically, even physically going in. And I thought, that's interesting. That's very interesting because we are light. Our body is light. It is a light frequency. And I'm not sure if it's because that person had to be that way for their ability to work. Maybe others can have more on them and connect to the light body. They don't have to be totally without anything on. Who knows? But for me, it was interesting. It's like, okay, that's how they connect to their light body to do their work. And the host was smiling. I was like, really? Really? You have to be that way to do it? And it's like, that's how I do it.
And it's really that unique connection, that uniqueness within us all, and to honor that and be okay with however it works for you, no matter what it is, to be open to that and not squelch it according to what society wants you to do.
Yeah, and I listened to that particular person's experience and I thought, yes, I understand how they do it. Because when you're lighter, it's easier to connect with your light body. And I mean lighter on a soul aspect, whatever you're embodying, that 100% or whatever. When you don't have drama, distraction, when you're not being confused by exterior outside things, just focusing on your own healing, your own well-being, body, mind, soul balancing, you are lighter in your own soul frequency and you can better connect with that light body aspect of yourself and travel outside the body. When you're lighter, it's easier to travel outside the body or in your light body because you can take your soul consciousness out of the body and travel that way and you're seeing around. When you take your light body with the soul consciousness, you're able to touch things in a different capacity. Your human body still stays on earth, but you create a different frequency, like an avatar. A light body is an avatar. It is in a golden light body or in a blue body, whatever your energy field is, that's what your light body will be. But you're creating something that can physically interact outside of yourself and actually touch things.
That is a very good, and I don't know if you have seen the new movie, the Avatar movie, but it is, if you haven't, I highly recommend.
I did see it and it has a lot of learning points. It is an interesting movie. I did like the first one better, I must say.
Yeah.
The first one was better. The second one is more about learning things. So the storyline could have been better developed.
Yes, and the learning, it's like the tidbits of learning you can see
Mhm.
within it, I think are so key. And when you talked about, I think you kind of touched on a little bit when you talked about the psychic and the remote viewing. I believe that's what you were referring to when you're taking your light body and and also not necessarily a light body, but you're taking and being able to view other aspects. So can you kind of go into a little bit remote viewing, how you use it and how you've used it to, I know you've said you've viewed other planets, how you did that and what you saw.
Usually I don't take my light body for the remote viewing. I just do it with my consciousness. Is I don't touch things when I'm remote viewing, and I tell people, even with your consciousness, sometimes you can focus your energy so much where you can't touch, can go around touching. But I say, don't touch it, just look at it, understand what you're looking at, what you're connecting to. It's like taking your consciousness and zooming in on the target of what you're seeing. And some remote viewing is done with those numbers, the military numbers, it's like the standard traditional. I prefer just to say what is under the Gulf of Mexico as a target in a circle on a map, and for the consciousness of the human soul to go and to connect and have a look what's under there and bring back the information. I'm not going to task people with numbers. You just get a location on a map and away you go, and use I train people to zoom in with their soul consciousness, to release anything distraction, or clear your mind, blank slate, just white light energy, pure light. And then take your consciousness, go out and seek, find, connect, look in, and bring back what is there.
I like that seeking is so important. So to me, that kind of embodies that want to learn, that want to see what's out there, that want to
Mhm.
know what's out there. And
Mhm.
as you've used some of this and you've connected with ETs, what have they shown you about their planets and their lives that are maybe a little different than we have here? Or do you have any information you'd like to share on that?
Some of them are seers. Some of them live in caves where there's gems and jewels, and they're connected to that vibration, and that's what they do. They do that year round. That's how they live. Some of them can just touch each other and they'll get a child. They don't have to carry in the womb. They can just touch and they create energetically a new being, and it forms in a light field and then it grows. So not all of them have the same biological functions as we do. Not all of them, their abilities work in different ways. Some planets are hot, some planets have more water, some less. It's what they choose to embody, is what they embody in their environment. Some of them can control their environment and create anything they want environmentally, because they work with pure energy of
It's
universal connection.
it's kind of in a way, and this is just a vague way, kind of thinking about we choose to live in certain parts of the world here. Some people choose to live in the hotter areas, some choose to live in the very, more forested areas and having those options out there. Are you seeing when you're working with these beings, I'm just going to call them beings, for
Mhm.
me it's more people, but when
Yeah.
you're working with them, are you finding where they're more open with telling you what they're experiencing or telling about their lives a little more?
Some of them want to share the history. Some of them just want to teach me what's important for my soul to learn. Because for the most part, they just teach me. Now that we've connected, I just want to learn the higher concept things of knowledge, to heal, to help, to understand better the universe creation. But in the past, in the beginning, when we first connect, they do tell me their history of their planets, their culture, their language. So I understand where they come from. Yes, they do teach me that in the beginning as an introduction. So I know who they are as beings, and I respect them and where they come from. But then it goes beyond that into the other higher things of, of what my soul divine being wants to learn from them and what they want to teach me.
That's and I so a lot of times, and I feel like this is you're going there, sometimes they're here with you.
Mhm.
So in general, I'm just going to make it very general. when people here on Earth are talking about like the ETs are coming, how often do you feel all these different beings of extraterrestrials are really here versus maybe what the perception is?
Some of them are here full-time on missions, living in underwater cities and bases, studying the ecosystem because they have missions here. Some of them just come and visit in ships, and some of them teleport in and teleport out without ships because they can embody the energy field in their light body. They travel in orbs. So if you see the orbs, there might be a being in it, and they can make it smaller, bigger. And again, it's really up to them in what they're wanting to do here. If they want to connect to you, they can telepathically connect to you. Most beings are very telepathic. They don't even need to physically come. They can be in another universe and talk to you, can be in another galaxy. There's no limit on telepathic energy frequency source connection. If I want to talk to them, I can ask them. Like it's like making a psychic call.
That's a great way to explain it. I like how you brought up the orbs for people when they're seeing these orbs, and there was one, it just brings up, they're just kind of bringing up, there was a movie, was it Austin Powers, where his cat had the universe on its collar, how so many of those, we don't look at things just in our physical aspect, to look at things a lot differently, to open up our eyes to what may be in front of us and not put things in a box.
Exactly. I don't put things in a box because I know that everything's outside the box energetically and frequency wise. And I never discount an experience. Everything, I look at things from a 360-degree perspective of experience, learn, understand, process.
And that's something so important for people to really look at it differently and to have their own, be okay with whatever their unique experience is with these beings and with the telepathic. And sometimes it's just that knowing that comes over you, and knowing they're around you, I think is so important.
It is, and staying organic. Just, I don't need bells and whistles. I had the bells and whistles, I had implants, and I had it. I learned psychic surgery to remove all of that because it was not the highest light of my body for that to be in me, but it was. And that has to do with the secret programs more so, but that taught me to be on an organic life path. You don't need anything different except yourself and your organic ability to expand those abilities and work on them to your highest vibration, love and caring.
And when you talked about the secret programs, can you elaborate a little bit on the secret programs and how that works with the ETs and different things you experience there?
Well, my experiences have to do with being on the moon for 2 years and actually learning. It's called lunar space operations. Learning 2 years, learning about different extraterrestrials, who they are, what they're doing, their cultures, languages, so I don't bumble through the galaxy when I encounter these beings, being taught who they are, respecting who they are, and not interfering with them, and learning their capabilities, what they do and how they live. 2 years learning that, then
Wow.
being transferred to Mars to work in the cybernetics labs and biological human cyborgs, biological drug serums, regenerative medicine, holographic medical pods. That's all technology that exists on Mars because this is a corporation that developed it, planetary corporations. So I think there's some ego and selfishness in what that corporation is and what it does, because they haven't given this out to the world, to us on Earth. They haven't given any of that to us. They have genetics labs, they have cybernetics labs. They gave me Neuralink implants to speed up my brain, to be like a supercomputer, to download information. I wasn't trained by a human to do that kind of work. It was the implants that downloaded the information, and I went to work, and I met Nordics there too. They were the ones, tall Nordics, blondes. And not all Nordics are the same. There's many different species of Nordics. These ones just were able to develop technology 300 years more advanced than what we currently use.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What What were they had you on different planets, you were working with lots of different
Mm,
ETs.
No, it was 2 years on Mars, and no, 2 years on the moon, then 60 years on Mars. Quantum time leap, time travel is possible. It's meeting the different extraterrestrials in the contact experiences that was on different planets. I was mainly on Mars for 60 years in the 16 back, cybernetics labs, DNA, genetic hybridization, sampling different ET-DNA and hybridizing it with human DNA and seeing what came out. Even injecting that DNA into myself and transforming into a different being, because on a molecular level and biological, they can do that. And what I learned from that is that a lot of secrets are being kept from us on planet, what happens off world in these secret programs.
I agree with you with that. There is so much that is not told to us that will be coming out, but right now, not told to us, not told to the general public, and won't be told to the general public right away. So,
Exactly. They have underground bases on the moon, underground and topside on the surface, protected by dome fields. Same on Mars. Those 2 years on lunar space operations, they can portal you out of your bed at night because it's a quantum field time travel technology.
and I think that's something people don't understand is once you start realizing the power of energy in that quantum field and how energy knows no time or space, so you can be anywhere at any time and you are observing and doing everything like you would here, but you're just somewhere else.
Yeah.
And time is a human aspect,
Yeah.
definitely not a oh here quantum field aspect. Totally different.
Oh, I've seen time portaling stations, platforms. You stand on it, it takes you from one planet to another, and it aligns your timeline so nobody knows you were even gone. It could
Right.
have beamed you out in your pajamas or however you sleep, and then once they beam you to the other planet, like the moon and Mars, those are the closest vicinity planets, so it's easy to time portal you. You're giving a smart suit, so everything molecular on the molecular physical level, you don't have to go to the bathroom because all the waste is somehow with the nanotechnology collected, purified, and it's not stuck in you. They have that ability. You're just given that smart suit, whatever color you choose, so you don't have to even wear specific clothing if you don't want to. That's just basic uniform. And it regulates your bodily functions and watches your health. And for me, that was great because with human clothing, I have trouble. I need everything to be almost 100% cotton because my body just is so like rayon. Any different material from cotton does not feel vibrationally good on me.
Oh. and and that's and that's the thing like you had just talked about is being able to be you can be in your pajamas, you can be sleeping, and it's like you're not even gone, but you have been gone and had so many other experiences. And for
Yeah.
people to trust that, I think I've heard people where they talk about, oh, I had this dream where I was going here or going there, and it's like, was it really a dream?
Well, actually, it might not be a dream because I've had that happen with a person. I think they did have an abduction, and I told them, and they're like, no, it's just a dream. They can't face reality of what happened, and that's okay. That's okay. And I did a pendulum session, and it told me, yes, they were taken out of their body, and it was not a dream. I did a pendulum reading 5 times because I trust my intuitive ability. I even found the ship that they were taken in. It was a square ship from California. There's a lot going on in California.
Yeah, there's a lot going on that West Coast over there. There is a lot going on.
Many people have had secret space program abductions by humans because they do these programs. There's also extraterrestrials that run their own programs for whatever reason. For the most part, it's very positive, but sometimes it's a little sketchy. Never get on a ship that you don't trust with any being that you don't feel good with. That's what I say. That's the first thing I would say. If
And
you're be
so
if
what
you're
you're kind of saying is that people have the ability when it starts happening to say, "Hey, no go, not doing it." So they
yes.
do have control over that. And
Mhm.
I think that would help people to understand you can say no.
Well, sometimes you get invitationals. Would you like to come on board? Would you like to study this and that? Is it for your highest good to go on board something that you know nothing about to explore? Just think about it. It's like, would you board some stranger's car that you've never met before here on Earth? But this person going back, they had an experience where they, in the dream, they remember seeing a ship come right in front of them outside a restaurant, and they're like being mesmerized by it. They had missing time. Perhaps they were beamed on that ship because it's like that psychedelic experience of frozen time, moving in slow-mo. That's the first hint that I got that something might have happened to them. And I did the pendulum reading, and I took that boxy square craft thing, I drew it out more, and I asked my own groups, do you guys know of this kind of a craft? I was told that's a shuttlecraft. That's a basic shuttlecraft. It's not even the latest technology. Then I was given a link to a book where this has happened to other people in California, where they've seen similar crafts looking exactly like that craft that was drawn. I'm like, okay, so that's not the first time that's happened. And that's more of a black ops thing that was happening to this person. Because of something else, somebody else that was being abducted and studied. They just got caught in the middle of something where they shouldn't even be.
And that's something I think people just to be aware that there, like you said, there's things happening, black ops here coming from our own control structures. And there's
Yes.
also the ones that are happening from the extraterrestrials. And to know there is a difference between them. Some may have the same ideas of what they want to do, but and some are completely different, but they are two different aspects. And how, when, like for you, you've contacted and been in contact with so many different extraterrestrials, so many different beings, so many different areas, planets. What are ways you can help people to understand? Maybe is it just simply asking, like, where are you from, getting more information that way? And then also, have you actually seen their ships?
Oh, I've seen many different ships. I've seen huge Arcturian circular motherships, purple, gray, and everything has crystalline portions inside. Like it has crystalline technology, and they float. And the ship can be bigger, smaller. That's just an illusion because they can change the frequency and the ship changes. And when I was inside, it's like everything, they're floating, they're not walking, and I'm floating because the energy is so light inside of it. And other ships have been more physical, the secret space program ships, like more tactile. It all has holographic technology, so you're not pressing too many buttons. It's a lot easier. And the bots clean, the vacuum bots, that's the best way I can call it. You're not mopping around, going around with a vacuum or a mopping tool, cleaning up the dust. There's no dust. All of these ships are super clean. So there's some kind of a cleaning system, always keeping things clean and the air purified.
I think I want one of those for my house.
Well, the best thing we have is a Roomba because it goes around and cleans. There, it's all spotless. No matter what ship I've been on, it's always clean. The environment is spectacularly clean. No ship has been dirty or disgusting. Everything is always clean. Whether it's secret space program stuff, clean. Whether it's the ETs, clean. It's never dirty. No dust, no dirt, no garbage. Nothing in sight like that. And the food is, people are asking, how is the toilet facilities and the food? The toilet facilities don't have toilet paper. It's like a bidet.
Oh, interesting.
So there's no toilet paper waste. You're not wasting something that is made from trees. The food is normal food. It tastes fine. Some of it is cooked, some of it is replicated. but you're not getting any disgusting toxins in your body. It doesn't come with anything special that shouldn't be in there with additives or preservatives. It just feels light. Just full of nutrients. Clean, exactly. Whether secret space program or ETs, the food is clean. So there's no surprises with what you're eating. You don't have to read 25 ingredients that shouldn't be there. It is clean.
That's a very interesting aspect that I think people don't realize is how different these are from maybe our personal Earth yet that it's working towards. And as you were working with them, are they when you're on the ships, are they inviting you in to help work with them, or are they just more observing you, or has it had been a combination of all of that?
Usually it's by invitation when I want to learn something or expand on my learning knowledge capacity, I will ask. And sometimes I'm invited when they want to show me something that they think will help me with my soul evolution. I'm not asking to be invited back to planetary corporations, nor do I want to, because I don't want to go back to work for them. I've parted ways a long time ago. No, thank you. That aspect is, I'm not involved in any of their operations, but I can remote view what's happening there and see. So if I want to see what they're doing, I can see through my ability. I just don't engage with them because I don't want to be back in a corporate military work environment. Not interested.
And that's where you're pretty much working on the DNA, the micro nanotechnology, all of that aspects, just so people are clear about what that corporate technology part is there.
Oh,
And
yes.
It's just very interesting for people to like open their minds and to see all and to hear from you all the different aspects of what's out there. And so something just came to me now. Are you also, is there like a birth, death aspect with the ETs themselves? Or is that more of just like we do? We have this cycle, some are birth, death, some are more that light energy that always continues. What has been your aspect, your thoughts on it?
The ones that I've met, they can be pure energy or they can have a physical body. It's just switching the energy field. And some of them can live 300,000 years, some of them can live 300 years, 1,000 years. For them, death is not death, it's just continuation of life because the soul never dies. The soul continues to grow, and it's the same for me, honestly. If I was told I have 5 days to live from now, I'm like, great, I will use that time wisely and enjoy and continue to learn and grow. I would use that time the best way I can if I was told that. I'm not afraid of death because you never truly die as a soul. You go on. This is a physical body that the soul animates and is in energetically to be here because we chose to be here to explore something and experience. When we're out of this body, you get to choose the next experience that you want. Physically, energetically, light body, full human body, different planet, different vibration, different density, up to you. You choose. It's your choice how you want to experience the next experience that you're in.
I think that's something so key for people to kind of release that fear of, death. When you die, you're done. It's like the soul is always going on, always
Yes.
learning, always going somewhere else. And to know that at a soul level, to just enjoy every moment you're of this experience. So you've had so many different experiences. Where are you looking to take it from here? What are you looking at getting out of your next experiences going forward?
To continue my research, to continue seeking, finding. I want to find the next interesting thing that's out there for me to figure out, to study. I love study. I love exploring. I like researching. I'm coming back to the core of the research, trying to put the puzzle pieces together. So, okay, if we have secret programs off-world, let's find some information that might actually give us some facts about this. And where do I dig and find that and put it as a link? We have UFOs. What type? Human, non-human, terrestrial, extraterrestrial. Let's give some information about these topics to try to actually get some research in. not just speculate or share an experience, but what is really behind this? Is there any information on it that actually reads as normal and easy to understand and not complicated, and bring that into their research? So going back to my ability as a library technician to bring the information cohesively together so people can actually read things and understand it better, what's going on.
I love that aspect of bringing in those factual aspects, those details to bring it in where you can show people like, here's the evidence of it versus so much has been out here. I mean, you and I both kind of work in things where not everybody can see what we're doing, but we know what we're doing.
Yes,
And to
definitely.
bring that into that physical, because so many people like show me the evidence, show it to me. And I think that's so key going forward. And just want to ask real quickly, what do you think about the disclosure aspects with the government?
Well, the government will only disclose what it thinks you should know, not
Yeah.
what you truly need to know. Those probes, those things they've been shooting down over Alaska, that's newer advanced technology. That is spying technology. It's not a weather balloon of a certain sea country. Yes, there was a weather balloon flying, and that's actually typical, but they have other probe technologies connected to satellites. Because when I looked at Alaska, it has 4 secret bases underneath Alaska. That's why that thing was flying over it, trying to figure out where those bases are and to bring back telemetry on them. Simple as that. NORAD found it, shot it down. That's a newer technology. It's not a UFO from another planet. It's ours. It's man-made. It's a more sophisticated probe connected to a satellite system. And does the government want to tell you about it? No. We shot something down. We're not sure what it was. Couldn't really identify. Can't bring back the debris. Sorry.
Yeah, that happens.
Because it's a secret aspect of a technology that likely one of the aerospace companies made, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman. There's so many that I could list. One of them is the likely company that did it, and it was trying to find something probably in a government project that's classified as classified. But the public is being told that there's something out there and that something was there. That's not the usual mode of operation for the military or the government. So things are changing and they're slowly leaking, giving us some disclosure. Now, was this a distraction for something bigger? Probably was, because they're always doing something behind the scenes to distract us, to put our focus on where it shouldn't belong, to make us speculate and wonder. That's what governments do best. They cover it up, they hide it, they make you speculate, but disclosure, UFOs, that's being more common, being made common and acceptable, because one day we will have these anti-gravity crafts hovering above our houses as flying cars or something else. That is the technology we will eventually have, so they cannot close up the idea of things existing that are hidden, but they exist because they're here. Whether human-made, reverse-engineered UFOs or ET crafts, they're both here. They're both operating in the Earth's skies. The government cannot cover that up anymore, so that has to be disclosed, and it is slowly being disclosed. Again, governments, you can't take them at their word.
And I think that's something for everybody to expand their thinking, to question everything, to do research and see what's out there, because there is so much that is there. We just need to do a little investigating, because once you do, you start realizing how much more is out there. And not to look at any of this with fear, but to look at it as, what else can I learn? What else can I connect to? Because there's so much out there that we are able to connect to help us understand so much of this. And you kind of hit on with the remote viewing and with your psychic abilities to use all of your tools in the tool chest to question and to connect is so important.
Yeah, I didn't even realize when that probe was flying over Alaska that I was actively looking at the live flyover. I thought it was already done, but I was looking at when it was live, doing its thing, scanning the ground and the water, looking for those 4 bases under the water, underground. I'm like, what is this thing looking for? It's connected to satellites. It's giving back telemetry to space satellites because it has that antenna array above it. And it was the size of a car.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this thing? Oh, it's just a newer technology. They have out scanning. It's better than a drone. It's a probe, satellite probe. I'm like, okay, they have a new gadget, but it's not really new because they've had it already.
And that's the thing, they've already had it already, and they're
Yes.
just making more use of it, and a
Yes.
lot of this technology that they've gained from the ET realms is gonna be shown around more, and like you said, there's ETs, there's government, there's all of it going around,
Yes.
and to use your intuition and just kind of, what does it feel like to me? Trusting
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah, and with my remote viewing, the data I bring back is what is coming to me and what I'm being shown and what I see. I cannot change the data. What the data is, I cannot change it. I will write it down. I will draw it out to the best of my ability, and that is what it is, and that is what I share. No eraser, no pen, no ink, pen, and paper, the old-fashioned way. I don't color it in. I don't make it super fancy. I just give you what really was there, that was there at the time it was there. Remote
And
viewing
that's
is, yeah, it's past, present, and future. There's no limit on what you can do with remote viewing. There's expansion of ability, how much you can do it. That is, if you put a limit on yourself, then it's limiting. But if you don't put a limit. I never put a limit on my ability. I just go and see. I trust and I go and take a deep dive to see. And that probe is exactly what I saw, because there's news articles saying that it was cylindrical, and what I was seeing was cylindrical, exactly as described. I'm like, great. Confirmation. The work is done. It's reported on. We have things out there to explore. And it's ours. This is ours. It's not off-world.
And that's something I think so key for people to realize. There's a lot of things you may be seeing that are actually ours, and just and to know there is both, but
Mhm.
there's a good chunk of our own stuff that's going to be pushing the limits coming up in the future here.
And sometimes it looks exactly as theirs, as the extraterrestrial stuff, because these governments, secret governments, have been able to reverse engineer it to perfection.
And that's the thing, to realize there have been a lot of things reverse engineered because of what. So I know we're getting late on time here, but I just want to ask, the Area 51, what's your thoughts on all of that?
Well, been abducted to Area 51. So S1 is the biologicals, genetics. They've hybridized different ET genetics with humans. S4 is the crafts. Bob Lazar, that's true, did work at Area 51, did reverse engineer a craft. We have crafts that were shot down 1947 Roswell. One of those, there was 3 of them. It was taken, one of them, to Area 51, and that's probably what Bob Lazar was working on. I was doing the biological genetics stuff. That is what I was put into S1 to do because of what I did on Mars in the cybernetics labs. White, there's many levels. Area 51, what you see on the surface, that's just typical human military covering up all the different scientific research facilities underneath. It's a self-sustaining laboratory research facility with levels, with a black elevator that can take down a lot of supplies and people and deliver you underground where all this stuff is happening.
Interesting. I think a lot of people are going to find that very interesting, and how they used your abilities and what you learned when you were working with that corporate aspect to
Mhm.
then use it towards that Area 51. And people are going to say, well, you're not old enough. I'm like, but as you said, it's time is not relevant. It is only a human timeline that we look at. But
Mhm.
once you hit this energy level, there is no time. No
Yeah.
time.
And I drew that abduction experience. I actually drew it, and I've talked about it. So there is a drawing of what I saw in Area 51 S1, the biological stuff, beings, gen pods, generation tanks being hybridized, human DNA with ET. Then they're taken somewhere. They're taught to act human, and they're integrated with human society to see how they do. they're taken in circular UFOs, removed from Area 51, trained somewhere else with their full consciousness online, having a soul, but they're somehow genetically grown in these regeneration tubes, pods, whatever you want to call them, taken off site once they've maturated into a full adult body and trained, and they interact with us. So I think it's a hybridization attempt that they tried to do.
Interesting. And you have this on your YouTube channel, is that
Yes,
correct?
I do. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to have to probably get the link or the name for what the episode it is. And
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll add that link in with everything here. So people who are looking at wanting to see more of that, they can go to your YouTube channel and check that out. I'm going to check that one out.
And then I trust my experience, but I also remote viewed Area 51 because I wanted all the levels. I was only in S1, but there's more levels. So I went and backtracked and remote viewed. That place is huge, and it's humans. It's the secret Earth space programs on Earth, because there's the space out there programs, and then there's the Black Ops here, and that's a Black Ops program, Area 51.
And that's something, there's so much more once you start looking into this, how, you had talked about there's people, we're on other planets, they're on our planet. It's all a whole intergalactic connection and understanding that and getting in deeper. So I'm hoping people tap into your YouTube channel and start looking at some of the other things you have talked about, because for me, I could go on for hours, boy. I want to be respectful for your time also.
Oh, well, for me, it's like we've covered a lot of very important things. So is there anything important that you'd like to ask me that you think your audience would like to know?
I think I've covered a lot of it. I want to know if there's anything. I just want to then go over what you have to offer again and how to contact you. Is there anything you would like to add to any of this we've done today?
Balance yourself, keep working on your light field, your soul, your physicality to be in balance. Don't live in fear. Don't get distracted by outside things that are here to distract us. Focusing on yourself, love yourself, care for yourself, love your friends, others, family. Keep the deeper connections because they do matter. Just be honest, humble, and your genuine self.
I love that. And know that everything out there, there's nothing to fear unless you put the fear on it yourself. So investigate, open your box, and be open to what's out there. And I can't wait for all of you to check out more of Ileana's things. Go on her website. Again, it is seekingthetruth.wixsite.com/Star Traveler messages. So check out her website, and then her YouTube channel is Awakening Cosmic Reality Show. So much great information on there. Make sure to check her out. And also, I just want to remind everybody again of everything she offers with this learning about star origins, counseling, life coaching, energy healing, psychic surgery, medical intuitive consultations, DNA and health infusions, Reiki healing, psychic and soul, galactic soul, Akashic and past life readings, soul and remote viewing, memory reading reports, and Onana time traveling. We didn't get to that, but we'll get to it some other time.
Well, that's a report, a sample of a report that a client had of Oriana. She allowed me to put in a report of what we did in a session, just as a sample, so people could see what kind of work was done. So that's different. That's not a service. That's a sample report of a session that was done.
Awesome. Well, you definitely want to check that out. It's going to be so interesting. And you do the custom crystal grid designs, astral travel, hypnosis, channeling, and you have courses and workshops with the remote viewing, channeling, hypnosis, regression, past life readings, the astral travel, soul retrieval, manifestations, the higher self and soul communication, crystal grids, the wands, pendulums, and magic manifestation workshops. And you do a lot of this all online, is that correct?
Yes, I do it all online through Zoom one-on-one. It's a personal connection. You see me, I see you, video, audio. And then if a person wants a copy of it, I am happy to send the copy of the video. Everything is humble, everything is open and transparent.
Awesome. I love that. So anybody in the world can reach Ileana and definitely check
Yes,
her out. And
yes.
check out
I work internationally, multidimensionally on all aspects of the soul and the physicality. And my website is Messages from a Star Traveler. Anybody can type that into a search engine, and the website will pop up if they just want like quickly Messages from a Star Traveler, easy.
Awesome. I love that. And then make sure to check out all the other things. You have clothes, grids, meditations. You can get meditations from you, puzzles, books, and
Yes.
information on star journeys, the dragon, and star history. So much there. So make sure to check you out. And do you have a newsletter also, or is it just the connection on your website?
I do have a blog, Ileana's Messages from a Star Traveler, where you can sign up to the blog and it'll give you, it's not a newsletter, it's updates. Anytime I post something new, video, new blog post, that website, if you sign up, it just gives you a link alert when things are posted. So you'll be always updated. And that one is separate from Messages from a Star Traveler, because Messages from a Star Traveler is the teaching website, the course stuff, the session stuff. So I kind of want to keep those two separate, because there's a lot of teaching material as well that people can learn from the site. Just explore, learn, teaching, learning, because I like to help people to expand on the soul level.
And I know there's so much. I went through some of your stuff before. I'm like, holy cow, there's so much out there that you have available for people to learn and just understand. So I highly recommend people check out her site. Go to her website, you can go from there, from everything. Check out her YouTube channel. And I just want to thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for your time. And I appreciate all you shared with everyone. Thank you so much.
And thank you for being the kind, beautiful soul that you are and exploring with us for the higher soul expansion.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of the people listening. Thank you for being here. And I hope all of you have an absolutely amazing day.